Hakeem Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all.
This amendment is unnecessary in the issue of public interest.
Bills seeking to change the legislative status of drugs and poison suffer setback in the House.
To assist in just and fair hearing and determination of corruption and monetary laundering matters.
And House legislates on judges to continue adjudication of cases even after promotion from High Court to Court of Appeal. A warm welcome to House Ticket, the program that brings you updates on bills, motions and committee activities of the House of Representatives as they speak and make laws for the good of Nigeria and Nigerians. This episode of the program reviews plenary sessions of the House from 18th to 20th May 2021, during which several bills were considered by the House, motions adopted, and matters of urgent public importance debated. The House also considered committee reports adopting recommendations and taking far-reaching resolutions. Why don't you stay tuned as we bring you up to speed on the activities of our elected representatives in recent times. Don't go away.
If we set our minds right, embrace each other in love and brotherhood, we will come through these troubling times. We will survive, we will recover, and then we will thrive. One nation under God, free, peaceful, and prosperous.
Let us begin the program with issues discussed during plenary. Matters deliberated upon included constitutional matters hinging on shared responsibilities between the federal and state, fiscal matters, breach of law in the power sector, and many more. The details are contained in our first segment of the program. Keep watching.
The Deputy Speaker, Ahmad Idris Wase, presided over plenary from the 18th to the 20th of May 2021. In that period, the House received 2 letters from the Presidency requiring legislative action. The letters are captioned as follows: Request for the House of Representatives concurrent approval of donor fund projects under the 2018-2020 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan. A request for the resolution of the National Assembly to the implementation of the new external borrowing of 2.343 trillion naira, about $6.183 billion in the 2021 Appropriation Act.
Given the importance attached to the timely delivery of the projects listed in the proposed borrowing plan and the benefit to both federal and state governments, stand to gain from the implementation. Same, I hereby wish to request for kind consideration and concurrent approval of the House for the 2021-2020 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan to enable the projects become effective. Please accept the Right Honorable Speaker, the assurance of my personal warm regards. Signed, President Muhammad Buhari.
The funds are coming through sovereign loans from several international financial institutions, including World Bank, African Development Bank, French Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and China Development Bank, amongst others. The presidential requests have been forwarded to the House Committee on AIDS, Loans and Debt Management for more work. On bills, a bill for an act to provide for the procedure and ceremony for the transition and assumption of office of the President-elect and Vice President-elect, and to facilitate the handover process by the outgoing President and Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and for related matters, scaled second reading.
The bill in Section 19 on appointment of ministers and constitution of boards of federal institutions and parastatals, in line with Sections 147 and 302 of the Constitution, mandates the President make such appointments within a specified time frame to ensure effective and seamless take-up of government.
Cures the mischief of lack of precision. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, transition period is a period when the country could be all very vulnerable. So it is a time we must establish a level of certainty. The time when ministers must come in, the time when particular activities, committees, and federal boards must be settled.
The bill was referred to the House Committee on Special Duties without much debate. A second bill taken that Tuesday, however, did not scale second reading. Sponsored by lawmaker Unyime Idem, the bill is for an act to provide for the establishment of the National Community Service Scheme to develop an increased sense of social responsibility, a global view of society, and a heart for giving back and helping others, and for related matters.
The National Community Service Scheme is aimed at ensuring that the offenders of misdemeanor offenses are given equal punishment instead of sentencing them into prison. The country cannot sustain this level of incarceration without a significant impact on individuals, families, and communities.
The opposing views on the bill held the opinion that there were improper analysis and intendments of the bill, duplication of existing laws, amongst other anomalies.
I believe that we have done justice to Correctional Service Act. Now, this particular bill that we are talking about is also embedded in Correctional Service Act, because there are certain things that are done in society that Correctional Service Act, all we need to do is to build more facility instead of putting hardened criminals with the one that committed things that ought not to go into the same place with the hardened criminals, can go for community services.
We go back to the, to the relevant penal codes and, criminal code to make amendment to provide for this kind of punishment. Some of these offenses are already provided for in the relevant legislation, either the penal code or the criminal code relating to some of these offenses.
The opportunity for a right of reply to the issues raised was given to the sponsor of the bill.
Those minor issues that are not supposed to be given the same treatment with, those criminal offenses. I think this bill is seeking to separate them. So I've taken time to check those provisions. I will tell you that this one is quite different from the one in that act that my colleague cited.
You are talking of functions within the same establishment. And that is why the advice given by Honorable Sai bring out and insert those other clauses that you think it should come to play. This is what it's supposed to be. That's how laws are supposed to be made. Not to go again and establish another for the same institution. No, sir. Who is going to be responsible? It's the same institution that have passed that act establishing the correction center that will be responsible to oversight what you are now proposing. But if you insist, I will allow you to put a question.
Eventually, the sponsor applied that the bill be stepped down for more legislative action. On motions, there was a matter of urgent public importance which called for the need to stop the unrest going on in Isheyin local government area due to the killing of 5 indigenes by officials of the Nigerian Customs Services.
On Thursday, 13th of May, 2021, on Eid al-Fitr Day, custom men were in pursuit of a sport utility vehicle conveying bags of rice when they started shooting sporadically. That if these men had been properly cautioned and trained in the process of recruiting them, bearing in mind that they carry arms, these strategies would have been avoided. Killings by the custom officers in guise of pursuing smugglers in recurring saga in the country.
In my state, we're having a lot of problems like that. A lot of youths are being killed in Yewa, Imekon, Afon, and Ipuke. I would like to amend that 2 weeks be given for that report to be done. 6 weeks is too long. This is a recurring situation in a lot of states.
By way of resolution, the House mandated the Committee on Customs and Excise to, under 2 weeks, carry out an investigation into the matter and report back to the House on its finding for more legislative action.
While the motion just moved is referred to the level committee of the House, Custom.
At plenary Wednesday, the 19th of May 2021, the House had an extensive deliberation on a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to provide for quick dispensation of justice and completion of criminal matters being tried by a judge of a high court before his elevation to the Court of Appeal and for related matters. The bill came up for second reading.
When judges get elevated, criminal cases presided by them before they were elevated get stalled, and in fact start de novo afresh, and has sailed us back to a harbor of delay in criminal adjudication which we thought we had left. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, it is in this vein that this constitutional proposal is made.
It was opposed on the grounds that it will create conflict of interest, corruption, amongst other disadvantages.
How does a judge in good conscience preside over a matter which he heard in the lower court and then sit on appeal on that same matter that he presided over at the lower court? There will be a fundamental conflict of interest here.
In my opinion, let's have a 3-month situation where a judge that is appointed to go to the higher court, that 3-month period should be able to clear his table before he takes over from the new court, so that he does not come back and preside over matters he has actually done before.
Some other lawmakers, however, spoke in favor of the bill, arguing that there was no conflict of interest, just as suggestions were proffered on the best way to go in amending the provisions of the bill.
In most cases, when a judge, for example, is appointed in Bayelsa State, he will always be transferred to a different jurisdictions. And even if it's within his jurisdiction, all he needs to do is to excuse himself from the matter when he goes to appeal. There can never be any conflict if we don't allow this bill to scale through. We will be killing exactly what we are trying to build. People are shouting outside that our justice is too delayed.
I would like to advise if you will form a committee of the legal minds, which is normally happen in this chamber, to look at this and advise the House as appropriate.
What has been happening with cases in various courts that have to do with corruption? Because all the loopholes that either the legal experts and so looking at what is there for them to use as a result to be able to delay any criminal justice. To me, I believe that if we take this to the committee level, let the experts discuss this, look at the technical areas, that will be better for us.
The way out is for us to use the instrumentality of this bill and overhaul the justice delivery system in the criminal justice sector. So, Mr. Speaker, I support the proposition of Honorable Luke Onyefiok that this bill pass this reading so that at the committee level, we will add the necessary salt, cross the T's, dot the I's to ensure that Nigerians get justice.
The bill scaled voting at the end and was referred to the ad hoc committee on the review of the 1999 Constitution.
Against any, that's a bit.
There was one motion adopted under matters of urgent public importance same Wednesday at plenary. Sponsored by Representative Sani Bala, it was titled, Need to Investigate the Claims of Engine Failure that Almost Caused Fatal Crash of Airplanes Departing Kano and Port Harcourt Airports to Abuja.
On Tuesday, May 18, 2021, 140 air passengers, including the Emir of Kano, and 90 others flying with both Max Air and Aero Contractors aircrafts, respectively, escaped fatal accident and possible death as they separately departed Kano and Abuja airports for yesterday and the other day before. Also note that Max airplane with registration number BM1645, which was scheduled to take off by 1:30 p.m., had delay of almost 30 minutes before departing, only to escape air crash, just as Aero Contractors Boeing 737-500 encountered bird strike 10 minutes upon takeoff and eventually returned back to the base.
Because of the level of insecurity in the country, sir, a lot of people have resorted to use of aircraft. And therefore, it is important that whoever is responsible for maintenance and safety, it should be taken very seriously. It's not even about who, but about human life.
The motion was adopted without a debate.
Motion referred to Committee on Aviation.
You're still on to House Ticket, the weekly program which brings you highlights from the activities of lawmakers in the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. On the first segment of the program, we reviewed plenary proceedings for last week from 18th to 20th May 2021, featuring discussions on Fiscal Act, social responsibility, security, and quick dispensation of justice by the judiciary. Let us conclude events of the week in review with activities during plenary of Thursday, 20th May 2021, during which the House deliberated on issues of constitutional amendment, bills legislating on drugs and poison, amongst other people-oriented motions. Starting with the bill for an act to alter the second schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended, to transfer drugs and poisons from the exclusive legislative list to the concurrent legislative list and for related matters. Sponsored by lawmaker Abbas Tajuddin.
State governments can grant licenses to manufacturers to use and dispose of the drugs in their respective jurisdictions. This bill is supported by almost all the 36 governors of this country. The APC progressive governors have met and deliberated on this, and they have given its assent to the alteration of the Constitution as far as this is concerned.
Our drug and poison policy must be nationalistic in outlook. It has to cut across boundaries, state or otherwise. What is important is that we cannot afford a situation where legislation in one state is weak and legislation in drugs and poison in another state is strong. The implication is that we run the risk of major impact, major negative effect of drug in one state, and people peddling drugs, poison, and all hazardous chemical substances run to a state. The legislation must be national.
We should be specific with the sort of drugs. With poisons as well, I think there should be specification on the sort of poisons you want to remove from the exclusive list.
Others spoke for the bill.
NAFDAC, I'm not sure they have any office in my state. Neither do they have in my local government. Neither do they have in my ward. All these things are expected to permeate to the grassroots. And the effects of most of all these substances, these hard drugs and all these poisons, are mostly felt at the grassroots. So allowing states to make laws for the effective control of all these things will even give it a broader approach to control them.
The exclusive list is so much that it is weighing the federal government down. Are we saying that states are idiots, they will go and get poison to themselves? They are also bothered, but they cannot act. They can't begin to arrest. They can't begin to discipline because it's considered a federal concern. It's a federal crime. What is it that we are observing in other climes? Why can't we have it in Nigeria?
We have Federal Road Safety Agency and we have VIOs in the states. And we find there's no much conflict among the two. So if you allow this to be in the concurrent legislative list, it is the choice of a particular state to implement or even to stay aloof and allow it to be controlled by the federal. It is not something that is sacrosanct that when we pass it here, all states will come along and align themselves with what we have passed here.
Despite the support of the lawmakers that the bill be allowed to pass at second reading, it failed to get a yes vote when the question came up.
In favor that the bill be read second and say aye. Against say nay. The next have it.
On motions for that Thursday, 20th May 2021, the House mandated the Committee on Power to, within 4 weeks, engage the distribution companies DISCOs, regulatory body of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, amongst other regulatory agencies, to find a lasting solution to transfer debt incurred by old electricity customers to new users billed by distribution companies. The motion was brought up by lawmaker Soyinka Olatunji.
That the distribution companies which are responsible for collection of payments for service rendered to customer allow unpaid bills to accumulate, do not follow the laid down principle and guidelines by regulatory authority towards unpaid bills and disconnection of non-payment, not paying customers.
What is the status of the government regulation regarding prepaid meters? So they should find out the status of operations of prepaid meters or the level of fulfillment. What he's saying is because he's living in an urban area in Surulere. In my own village is bulk metering. In fact, what I have done is to de-electrify all my constituency, Mr. Speaker. And these distribution companies are acting much more in breach. The committee should investigate the status of prepaid meter as a policy of the federal government, its level of implementation.
The Committee on Legislative Compliance has been mandated to ensure compliance to the resolution reached. To other activities during plenary in the week in review, the House passed several bills at first reading, among which are the Harmonized Retirement Age for Teachers in Nigeria Bill 2021, Admiralty University of Nigeria Ibusa Establishment Bill 2021. Petitions were also presented before the House by lawmakers on behalf of their constituents.
The petition is on the wrongful dismissal from the Ministry of Commerce and Tourism, and is appealing that this House should help him convert it to retirement and pay him all his benefits.
The petitions have been laid and referred to the House Committee on Public Petitions for further work. Many thanks for staying tuned to House Ticket as always. Remember to get in touch with your lawmakers with questions and comments on their activities using our feedback channels shown on your screen. Till we meet again next time on the program, have a lovely time ahead and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.